to complete the appointed time. Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to Divas Den on IntellectualRadio-Com. I am your host, the Boss Lady, and I don't have my co-host with me at this moment, but she will be joining us shortly. But I do have my special guest, educators, two women that I love and do a great job of impacting our children, loving on them. They're passionate about their students. They're passionate about the community. They're passionate about their craft as educators. And between the two of them, I have Shonda Hicks and I have Sandy Lexington, and they're going to share more about who they are, what they do, what school, their credentials later on in the show. But these two ladies combined have a total of over 40 years of experience. That is incredible. The reason why I picked the two of them to come on the show is because school just starting back, and I wanted to share, and we wanted to talk about what can the parents do to work alongside the students so they can become more involved in their lives, whether it's at home, connecting with the teachers, having a positive relationship so that they can enhance, encourage, and educate our children better. But before we get started, I want to talk about some of the new happenings or the things in the news that is a little scary, that is a little weird, that we are trying to understand in the day and time that we are living in. I don't know about anybody else, but with the storms and the hurricanes, Hurricane Florence, that's sweeping through the Carolinas. And I have family in the Carolinas. Thank God they are safe. But to date, there has been a total of, earlier when I was listening to the news, about a total of 5 deaths. So, we are definitely praying for the families of those that are in the path of that storm. And I think they said something about the next 5 days or so, it's going to be raining and high winds. I can't even imagine. There's a lot of people without power. The other thing I want to state is when they ask you to evacuate. I'm going to say this: your home, your cars, the things in your house, all of those things can be replaced, but your life cannot be replaced. And I know there's sometimes people cannot get out. So if you have family or family members, check on them. And if they need assistance, please try to assist them as best that you can, because it is needed. It is needed. That is a scary, scary situation to be in, especially not being able to leave your home because you may not have the monies or you cannot travel. So
can you also add, though, that while we're praying for those that are evacuating, we need to pray for the first responders that are running in, because they're running into the storm. They're taking care of those people that are left behind and all the situations. So we want to make sure we're praying for them as well.
Definitely. The other thing I wanted to touch on is the 26-year-old that was shot in Dallas, Texas by the police officer. His last name was Jean. I think her name is Amber. She's 30 years old. I don't know if you guys heard the story where she had worked 14 hours, a long day, and she decided to go home after such a long day, and she ended up knocking on the wrong door, going to the wrong apartment. So she thought it was allegedly. So she allegedly thought that it was her apartment, but it was her neighbor's apartment. An American man. She was a Caucasian woman, and she ended up shooting and killing him. He would have been 27 years old on September the 6th. There's a lot, and in Texas, it is known for racial profiling. There's a lot of tension, and she has been at this point charged with manslaughter, and her bond was $300,000. So there's a lot of tension in Texas right now. in regards to that whole situation. And rightfully so, there are questions that's being investigated. And I hope that the family find peace with what's going on and what has transpired, because an innocent man has lost his life. And we don't know why it happened, but hopefully there's some answers. And if I don't know, it was because maybe she had a long day at work, she thought he was an intruder, and that was the issue, because she was not focused, she was tired, whatever the case is, that there is some learning from this situation. And if they find something else, that it is handled accordingly.
Well, my thought behind that why is it we have to, the first response is to pull the gun. Even if you walked into the wrong apartment or you saw someone, what was the communication between the two before she pulled that trigger? What was he doing? Was he sitting down? Was he rambling through his apartment when she told him to stop, or whatever the situation was? Why is it that the first thing you do is pull for your gun?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so we don't know what the communication between the two was. And if that's your neighbor, how close are the apartments that you thought this was yours?
Yeah.
So, it's just, to me, everything now is let's shoot first, ask questions later. Mm-hmm. We're not communicating. We're not trying to even see what is going on. Is shoot first, ask questions later. Right. Why go through this young man's apartment to try to, he's the victim. Right. So everything now is, we're not going to ask any questions. And it's almost like it's more than, it's becoming every day.
Yes.
Every situation. You pull over someone is every situation. Is you don't have to pull the trigger first. And it's a concern because it's happening more than we know. Mm-hmm. It's only so much that they televise, but it's happening
way too often.
Way too often.
And the officers are trained shoot to kill, not shoot to wound. If I'm not mistaken, they are trained. So I think there's some training. I think there needs to be some racial diversity training that goes on as well. And it needs to be done more often. So that leads me into what's going on in Chicago. The trial is starting, or have started, for Laquan McDonald, the young man that was shot 16 times by Van Dyke. And so his attorneys are trying to get the trial moved from Chicago. And what's so interesting is the judge also fined him and his family because they, of course, decided to go on air and do these interviews, which they were told not to do. So this is very interesting. And then we had the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, come along and announced that he is not going to run again. Do you guys think it has something to do with that?
I do.
Yeah.
I think when it comes out, because he had to know some things. He had to. So before things really come out and you tie me to this, let me retire. So you can't attach me to that. You can't say my name was in anything when everything comes out. So I think he did it strategically.
Or is he afraid also that the city is going to go up
Absolutely.
If this...
It'll be a Rodney King situation again.
And I'm hoping not. I am hoping not. Right. But it's tough. I mean, as you know, if you look at the video, it showed the young man walking away with the knife. I mean, to be shot 16 times. 16 times. It's insane. And it has, throughout the United States, it has happened over and over again, as you stated, with the shooting. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. And I think there's a lot of things that's going on in regards to why the mayor is
I think
deciding
will come out
to walk away, which is honestly,
mm-hmm.
I think it's great that he's stepping down. I think one of the issues with the city of Chicago and with some of the other office, our administrative White House, that people are staying in office way too long and are not doing anything for the people, but more so benefiting for themselves.
That's exactly what it's turned into.
It has turned into that. And, we're going to talk more in the second part of our show in regards to, education and the monies that is going in the pocket of people in the state of Illinois, but education system is not getting any better. So
when did it become okay to spend millions and billions of dollars on a political campaign, and we have kids that can't eat breakfast, can't have a healthy breakfast at school? I don't understand when that power shifted.
Totally out of balance. Totally out of balance. And unfortunately, we don't have enough people who care enough about it or feel helpless. Right. And they can't do anything about it. And that brings me to the hospitality industry at this present time in the city of Chicago as well. A few hotels, I think a total of 25, are on strike. The union associates are on strike, and they're walking out. They have walked out, and they're, on the front line, because of their health benefits and things of that sort. So I understand. I get it. And it's that time. We're living in the time where people are sick and tired of being sick and tired and being taken advantage of. You agree, right?
Yes.
Also today, I want to talk about the Peace basketball game that is going on at St. Sabina Church on 78th and Racine. Father Flager and his crew. They're going to be NFL players, NBA players. It's a great thing. And it starts at noon if anyone is interested in participate. So it's great to see some positive things that's going on in Chicago to try to stop the violence. There's a lot of work to be done moving forward in regards to that. We are going to take a break and we'll be back. Thank you for tuning in to Divas Den on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, the Boss Lady, and I have Shonda Hicks and I have Sandy Lexington, great educators, and we will be back shortly to talk more about them and our education system in Illinois.
With everything I have and everything I am, I love you because you first loved me. With every move I make and every breath I take, it's because of you. Because of you. Because of you. You have given me hope, like at the end of a rainbow, just when I thought all was gone. Through all the pain and disappointments, you keep proving to me what my weary eyes could not see. With every tear I shed and every loaf of bread, you supply all my needs, and my hungry soul you feed. For every time I cry, this is the reason why. It's because of you. Because of you. Because of you. Increasing the faith And every breath I take, it's because of you, Jesus. It's because of you, my Savior.
Welcome back to Divas Den on IntellectualRadio.com, where we have something for everyone. We stream 24/7. We have over 50 radio shows and hosts. I am your host, the boss lady, and our co-host, my co-host, beautiful co-host, has joined us, the diva.
Good morning.
And we have our educators. We have Shonda Hicks, we have Sandy Lessington, and as I stated that both of them combined have 40 years of experience in being educators. They're going to share more about their stories, the schools there are, and their expertise and how they love on our children. The goal is for this show is for parents and teachers to come together to make this school year successful and the lives of our students better. So before we get started with them, the Diva is going to share more information about what we have coming up, what's going on in Diva's world, developing intellectual vision and self.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, guests.
Good morning.
How are you? It's good to see people with smiles on their faces so early. Today at 5 p.m., Divas will host their monthly workshop. School is now back in session. Divas want their girls to concentrate on their studies, more reading, more writing, more math, more science, more social studies. Do they even have social studies? Or is it called something else? History. Okay. And less drama. So our topic today is avoiding the drama cycle. We will explore how drama starts and various ways that they can resolve drama and recognize it before it gets to them. I think that's important. You know, a lot of kids get caught up in stuff that they don't need to be caught up in.
Right.
So they need to learn how to recognize these things. So we're going to recognize some languages, some verbiage, and maybe you guys can give us some more tips on how children can stay out of drama.
All right.
I can't wait to engage with conversation with this. I think this is going to be a very interesting workshop. Traveling D, guys, meet Traveling D.
Aww.
This is Traveling D is our newest member of developing intellectual visions and self. She is our passport to exploring the world.
Right.
Traveling D has traveled some states and has been abroad already. So she's to Ireland. She's been to the Dominican Republic. She is now headed to Texas.
Oh.
After her fabulous stay at the Grand Colonial Palace and all exclusive resorts, she was on the beach. She was sitting by the pool. She went on excursions. She did one excursion, and I saw the pictures, and it was like she was not going to make it back. It looked like she was going to have to be replaced. She was all muddy, but she had a good time. She went horseback riding. She went out to the local shops. And Madeline, do you see something different about Traveling D?
Girl, her ears are pierced.
Yeah. She got her ears pierced in the Dominican Republic. She made lots of friends, and she even learned some Spanish. Traveling D next adventures is exploring the state of Texas. She will be shipped out next weekend to stay a week or two with the Rankins family in Erasmus Pass, Texas. And from there, she will be shipped out to her next destination, which will be all across the waters to Japan.
Yes.
When D Traveling D returns to the States. She will be spending some time in Tuskegee, Alabama on the TU campus. And then she'll be off to LA. So basically, D is going to be traveling. She's going to come back with some information, important information, and some documents showing the places that she's been. And then our girls will map where she's been on this big map that we have. And we will talk about landmarks and things of that sort from that state. So it's a learning process, and it's also helping the girls to explore outside of their community, outside of their state, outside of their neighborhood, and outside of their country. Okay.
Nice. Which is great.
That's nice.
Especially Punta Cana. I love the Dominican Republic. I've been there.
She met a lot of friends there.
Yes. And it is great. Sometimes our young people don't have the opportunity to see the other side of the world or come out of their community, and just having that opportunity to do that can, I always say the fact that I went to school downtown for high school had opened my eyes to so much more. And I wanted a little bit more too, to experience. So that would help our girls.
She's even helping. She has some adult followers too.
Yeah.
She has a page. Go like her page, Traveling D. She has her own page. Because a lot of people don't own passports and they don't go out. Some people don't even go outside their communities either.
I hear that.
So if you guys are interested, or if our listeners are interested and you want to help sponsor a trip for Traveling D, please reach out to us. Go to her page, like her page on Facebook, Traveling D. Get in touch with the Divas on either on our Divas Den page or our Developing Intellectual Visions and Self page. Inbox us. Email us at Divas. Email us. Our email address is divas@divasinc.org, or visit our website, divas-inc.org. Save the date.
Save the date.
Save the date. Saturday, October 20th, 2018, Divas will have their annual Pretty in Pink affair. It's happening again at the Crystal Sky Banquet Hall, located in McCook, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Arrive early this year, 4:30, because everybody will get a chance to walk the pink runway. Okay.
Oh,
yes. Come out and help celebrate our survivors and pay homage to those who are no longer here with us. Breast cancer is, oh my God, it's like an epidemic. I was talking with some women yesterday, and they were talking about how aggressive their breast cancer became. It's like it's just getting into their system and just attacking women. And you don't have to have someone in your family to have it.
Yes.
Right.
And also we talked about there's men who also end up with breast cancer. It's a small percentage, but they do.
It's enough. I knew a guy that worked with me that had breast cancer. And he would have to go get mammograms. And the funniest thing was, he was like, how do y'all get all stuff in there? I was like, it's got to even be harder for you because you don't have any. So they had to, I don't know how they did it, but he had to get a mammogram every year, and maybe sometimes twice a year. Okay, come out and help us celebrate our survivors. Tickets on sale now. You can purchase them online from event and just type in Pretty in Pink, or you can also visit our website again, or you can give us a call and we can instruct you. All this information can be seen on our website at divasinc.org, on our Facebook pages again, Divas Den and Developing Intellectual Visions and Self. Also, if you have a topic that you would like for the Divas Den to discuss, or if you would like to be a guest on our show, please contact us via our Facebook pages or including our personal pages. You can give us a call at 1-855-462-3482. Again, you can email us at divas@divas-inc.org, or you can visit our website, divas-inc.org.
Awesome. To touch just a little bit on the Pretty in Pink affair, it's something that I love to be a part of. We have a lot of fun, and just to see the survivors who are so positive and they bring so much positive energy, even though they're going through something or they've been through something. It is so wonderful. We dance, we laugh, we have a great dinner. The entertainment is awesome, and our sponsors who help make this a great event. And this is the seventh the 7th year. So it grows every year. So I enjoy being a part of it. And so we hope that you all come out and be a part of this. Your first time, please come. We really will love to have you.
I think we had an awesome time last year. Last year was one of the best. Yes. Yeah, you was.
I was
last year was one of the best ones we had. Yeah. We even had some entertainment that we didn't pay for.
We right. But that's how
this was strictly donated. But it was good. Yes. It was really good. And I think
because people were so engaged. And I think that's what it is. You know, once you get in that room, things just change when you connect with people and just have a good time. Yeah, definitely.
And I think cancer affects everyone. I don't think there's no one here now that doesn't know anyone that has some form of cancer.
Yeah, definitely.
We need to be aware, and that's part of the reason why we do it. My grandmother had breast cancer. That's a very dear and touchy subject to me. But people need to be aware.
Yes.
Women need to be aware. They need to know. You need to go get yourself checked out.
My mother had it. My mother was a survivor, like it was in remission for 20, but then when it comes back, it's almost like
boom.
Like
it's boom.
Yeah, it's aggressive. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I tell women all the time, touch your boobies. Get your guys, touch your boobies. Because they know them.
Right.
Something wrong.
They'll know if there's a
right. You can use this as all kind of learning experience.
Yeah, that's right. On that note, glad to have our educators here. We have Sandy Lexington and Shonda Hicks. I'm telling you, in Illinois, we have about over 2 million students in the public school system. And we want to talk to them today. As I said, between the two of them, they have over 40 years of experience. So I'm going to start off with Shonda Hicks. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where you're teaching? How many years?
Okay. Well, I started as an elementary school teacher, 6th grade math. And then I don't know if people remember, it was a first wave of Chicago public schools doing the turnaround, and they were closing schools. So I end up no longer being in elementary school, and so I actually moved to high school. So currently I work at Perspectives Charter Schools, which is one of the branches, Perspectives High School of Technology. I've been there for almost 10 years, and I'm a special education advocate. And I also teach 10th grade technology, which is an app design class, because I also have a background in computer science.
Awesome. Miss Lexington, share a little bit about yourself.
So I started teaching at Crete-Monee School District, where I met you right before the triplets were born, or right after the triplets were born, I guess.
Yeah, she has triplets, and they're seniors.
They are. They're seniors. Thank you. They are amazing. They've actually made me a better educator, and my one daughter will tell you that outright. But that's part of my story. So I met you when I was over at Crete-Monee, taught at the middle school and the high school over there. I then went to Homewood Flossmoor High School. Got a great experience there. And from there, I went into administration back at Crete-Monee School District for 7 years. After that, I went to District 228 to be an administrator for 3 years. And currently, I am a 7th grade math teacher at Lincoln Elementary in Calumet City, loving on my 7th graders, and just so excited to be back in the classroom with kids and just impacting them every day, back where I belong.
And Shaka, I have to call you Shaka. Okay. I know your students call you. I gotta call you Shaka.
Right. I didn't know what to call her either, because I'm like,
that's
do I call her what I know, or do I call her?
I gotta call you Shaka.
Okay.
So, Miss Hicks, I'm sorry, but she also has a 16-year-old junior in high school. So not only do your children's teacher have to come to the class and teach your children, but they also have their own at home. So I know it gets a little crazy trying to balance their schedule, your schedule, and how many students do you have in your class?
App design is 27 students in each class. And then I have like in my diverse learners class, maybe 15.
Got it. And how many do you have?
I would say I have just over 100 students this year, 7th graders. But that's only the 7th graders. I mean, we're in a school, so every student is ours. When I'm doing morning duty on the playground, I'm interacting with kindergartners and 8th graders and, things like that. So I would say I have 1,000 children again this year.
Wow. Okay, but in your classroom?
In the classroom, depends. I've got anywhere between 22 and 30 kids in a class.
So is that normally is that a typical small, for the both of you, is that typical a small percentage, or is it on a larger percentage of students in a classroom?
I would say when I was at the high school, I thought it depended on the type of class. Mm-hmm. Right. Some classes were jam-packed with 35. Wow. Others were sitting at 15, to get them to run. So I think that was the big difference. I think where I'm at now, they do a pretty good job balancing because they have that amount of kids that they can balance.
Because I was just thinking, with a smaller percentage of a class, if you got 15 kids in a classroom, you could give more.
Yes. Yes.
Than you can give to 32 or 27.
Correct.
But it depends. Like now, our 10th grade is the largest class. So most of the classes are almost at 30, if not some classes have 32. So it's ranging from 25 to 30 because that's the 10th grade across the board is the largest class.
And I met Sandy back in 90, I want to say around 99, 2000. Because she was my daughter's teacher as well as her basketball coach.
Yes.
And and she did an amazing job with the students, and how they really connect with her was so amazing to me. And I really love the fact of the kids were always engaged. My kids loved her because I think DJ may have been in your class once or twice or something, math class or something in high school.
I was up at the high school at that time, yeah.
Yeah, and so, you coached Q in middle school and part of high school as well. So she really has impacted my family's life and just have been a good friend and a great educator. And like I said, the students loved her, always, no matter what, anytime I was in the school, she was talking or engaged with several students, or they were loving her or hugging her. But I want to ask the question, what inspired you both to become a teacher?
Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first? Okay. First of all, I had amazing teachers growing up. I really did. Starting with my Lord and Savior, obviously, and my mother, my teachers in middle school and high school. I'm going to go back to my mom first. She, her family immigrated here from Germany when she was 5 years old and did not speak a lick of English. So hearing the stories of the teachers that impacted her and the ones that were so awful to her, I think that's where it started in my blood. And then my 6th grade math teacher, Mr. Roman, how are you? We still, actually, every year when we go down to Florida, we spent the triplets' 11th birthday with him on the beach, because whenever we go to Florida, we go see him. He and my other middle school teachers were just so amazing and so impactful, and I could do shout outs to almost every one of them. Yeah. I still live in that district, so my children have actually been taught by some of them, and I think that's what really gave me that passion. Yeah. Now, when I graduated from high school, my father said, I am not paying for you to go to college to be a teacher. Teachers don't make any money. We're not doing this. You need to go get a job. So that's what I did. Got it. And I was so miserable that I was very thankful. I didn't go back to college until I was 21, started at Prairie State and worked my way through Chicago State University. And I tell people all the time, while I may be paying my own student loans, I'm so grateful that I get to impact lives each and every day, because God gave me a gift to work with kids. Yes. And I love sitting with y'all. I love sitting with kids. Like, that is my passion. Yeah. So.
I want to say ever since 3rd grade, I've always wanted to be a teacher. And just like in middle school, you have those teachers that made teaching as a profession look like that was the greatest thing in the world. Yeah. And so from third grade, I was like, I want to be a teacher. I'm going to be a teacher. Didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so I didn't get into the teaching field until after college, because I went to school for computer science, because that was the thing. Girls with coding, and it was like, you're a girl, you're good in math, you're good in science, then that's something that you would go in. And so when I got my degree, I still end up in corporate America. But once I got out of corporate America, I said, I'm going to where my passion is.
Yes.
And so that's where I started as a substitute teacher. And
that is the hardest. I'm going to tell you, I substituted, and God bless the substitute teachers.
Yes.
Because what they do to come in each day, they have no relationships with many of the kids because they're new that day. Mm-hmm. And God bless you for starting there.
So when I started as a substitute teacher, I went back to my grammar school. Mm-hmm. And my sixth grade teacher was actually the principal.
Oh, wow.
So she ended up hiring me as my first teaching job as a sixth grade teacher. So from that point on, it's like, I'm in my element, is what I call it. I'm in my purpose. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I've been there ever since.
I would say this too. I always wanted to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. I subbed for a while. My mother came home. My mother worked for the Chicago public school system for, I don't know how many years. She said, I have something for you. So, like you, I went to the elementary school that I graduated from, and I substitute for about 3 months. I was pregnant. It was great. It was really great. It was really great. It was really great because, like you said, like at 3, 4, 5, I wanted to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. I had paper, pencils, crayons, and I went into this school because, hey, everybody knew me. Everybody knew my mom. And I was like, Miss Travis is here. And the little boy looked at me. He said, you're not Miss Travis. Miss Travis works in the lunchroom. You're Vicky. They refused to call me Miss Travis. They went back and got information on me. Like, my mother went to school with you. Yes, she did. Yes, no respect.
So that's when you made up your mind. This is not for you, right?
Yes. Because it's hard when you go back to the grammar school and that's the people that you grew up with.
Right.
Their kids are in that school. And so that's what happened to me. I just happened to, how you have to have a parent meeting, and one of my classmates, it was her daughter. And she's like, you giving her problems? I went to school with her. Now she's calling me by my name. Right. And so now the kid's like,
that's your name.
Right. And so I'm like, So that's an issue.
That's What is the parent participation like these days? And kind of what do you feel that teachers need more from the parents to help make the school year more successful?
I think it depends on the teacher. For me, when I'm in the classroom and I'm in my element, I'm teaching life skills. Yes, I'm teaching math, but I am teaching life skills. I'll give you an example, and I'm going to try not to use the names that are truly involved. So this year is my first year at this school. I obviously am trying to learn names as quickly as possible. And I mispronounce the one girl who, seems to pick on more, and I love you if you're watching, seems to pick on more girls than the other. I'm calling her the wrong name, like 3, 4 times, and gets so mad. That's not her name. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for telling me that, because I don't want to call someone by the wrong name. However, let's address how you told me, because I don't think you want me to treat you like that if you miss a math problem. Like, you didn't do it right. And the kids all started laughing. But the funny thing was, I said, next time, could you please just raise your hand and say, excuse me, Miss Lessentine, that's not her name. And then I will say, thank you so much. these kids aren't used to that. Yeah. They're used to being yelled back. I think life is so stressful for so many parents nowadays, and they're working 2 and 3 jobs, and they're only interacting with their children for very short amounts of time. And when they do, they're stressed and they're saying things that they don't mean. I've got kids coming in crying every morning, not every morning, but in morning saying, my mom said that she wishes she never had me. And you just go, oh, no, baby doll. No. Mom's just having a rough day. And so a lot of times I feel we're teaching life skills just to try to get the kids to see another way of doing things. I refuse to yell. In my classroom, I have a timeout chair. It's for me, not for them. If I feel like I'm going to get to a point, because when you've got 30 kids that are all from different backgrounds and struggling, and some can speak English, some can't speak English, and everything else, that I now sit in the chair and I just wait for them, and they go, oh, she's in her timeout chair. Everyone be quiet. And so they're learning a different way of handling things instead of, and that's what I feel I do best. I'm going to mother. That's why I told their parents at open house, you do you at home. Please love them up at home for me. Send them to school with a good breakfast. Make sure they're going to have a lunch. Please help them have supplies, clean clothes, because that gives them dignity. I'll help them.
Yes, and all of that.
So I'm a little bit different. I'm sure there's other teachers out there right now going, are you kidding me? I want blah, blah, blah. And they might want more parent interaction at the school. I'll take care of things there. By all means, my classroom is an open door. Come in anytime. Come see me. Come see your kids. But for me, I just want them to love them up and make healthy kids at home.
I think, too, that teachers, some need to recognize, like you said, stress. Their parents are stressed. So if you have stressed parents, guess what you're going to have?
You have
stressed kids. And then now you have these stressed kids coming into the classroom. And guess what you become? Stressed.
Yes. That's why. Yep, absolutely. And that little boy that came in and said that his mom told him that morning that, she wished she didn't have him. By the end of the day, I'm getting referrals passed to me. Well, you've got to call his mom because he's got 2 detentions. Do you guys even know what happened to him this morning?
Does anybody know? Right. I can't call his mom right now.
Right. What?
You have to be social worker. You have to be mom. You have to be doctor, you have to be teacher, but it seems as if now you have to meet all of these needs before you get to being the teacher.
Right.
And when you said about teaching life skills, that's one of the things that I teach with life skills, because believe it or not, a lot of our students, well, on a high school level, they're taking care of the family.
They are.
They're coming in with, their sophomores, 15, 16. They're responsible for their younger siblings. Yeah. So when they come in, they've been up all night, or they didn't go to sleep, they didn't eat, and now they're struggling to get to school. For someone, when you come through the door, to say, where's your ID? The minute you walk in. So when a student lashes out and say, leave me alone, and that's in a nice way,
right?
Then now it's like, call the parent, but you don't know what that child has experienced before they got to school.
Okay, I'm going to intervene here 1 minute, because some of this stuff is not new that has been happening to school-age children. Even growing up, there was a level of being responsible. Since my parents worked, and until they got home from work, Vicky was responsible for her, maybe cousins, and maybe her siblings. We had to do our homework. I had to make sure that they did their homework. I didn't have to cook anything, but I had to be responsible. Maybe not at a high level, but I do know peers my age that had to be extra responsible. But we were taught you had to go to school. You had to learn. And if that teacher called me, he was going to be in trouble. So it's like, I know girls that were getting molested, but they still had to go to school and perform. They couldn't let that hinder them. They could not come to school and say, well, I'm not going to do anything because I got molested last night. They had to come and do their best.
I think there's more, but also I think more rules in the school system that has a challenge, causes challenges for you guys as far as the, what the expectations are and trying to deal with that? I think there's a possibility that more social workers, maybe that kids can spend some time to really talk to someone, because you guys don't have time with 30 some kids to try to talk to these students. I think we living in we had challenges then, but we're living in a different world, and I think it is more stressful.
We had social workers too, but you knew better than to go to your social worker and tell her anything that was going on in your house.
Well, and that's something that needs to change.
That's it's the difference now.
Yeah,
because when I was saying about the student coming in and they didn't sleep that night, they didn't eat, or whatever the case is that the student, they don't say it. They don't tell now.
Right.
So they're not communicating, I'm having a bad day. They just bottle it up
and lash
out. And now it's like, I don't care if you call my parent. My parent is not at home anyway. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or grandma is raising me and grandma is 80. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we need parent and guardian participation, come to the open house, come to parent teacher conferences, meet the teachers, meet the people that the village that's with your student from 7:45 to maybe 4:00.
Yes.
And so when that call gets home, or we make that phone call home, and then now you may have a parent to say, oh, my child didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So now is the teacher, you're battling, the teacher is battling, well, the child said this, and now, well, he didn't say that, or she didn't say that. So now you have a whole different situation.
Yeah.
Can I also add on to that? When I was an administrator and I would ask teachers to call home to parents, they would look at me and say, I don't call my own parents. And now you want me to make a phone call to an angry parent, and I'm not. I know that sounds silly. Right. So I would have to sit teachers down in my office, and we would do mock phone calls to the angry parent, because I don't even know if those phone calls get made to parents anymore a lot of times, because the teacher just says, you know what, I'm going to get yelled at anyway. I'll just try to deal with it the best I can here, and then moves forward. I think when it gets really intense, those calls go home. But for the most part, I think it's how the teacher ends up having to handle it. Are we going to snap? Are we having a bad day and we snap back at them? Because now it's escalating the situation.
Yeah.
I've seen kids yelled at and screamed at in front of their peers, and I have to take that adult and go, please stop, back up. That is not appropriate. But their stress level is so high with the testing and with, I need to keep my job and I need to perform.
So there's stress on both ends, from home and.
Not that that's ever an excuse.
Exactly. But I can totally get it and understand that. The other thing is, the education system in Illinois, we're behind in the nation. The test scores are behind. We're also behind in the nation in preparing our students for college. And some of the government or some of the people who are saying, well, we need more money. But after doing my research and reading, there are other states that are getting less money. Taxes has been increased in Illinois, and they're getting less money, and the scores and preparing their for college is much better. The educational system is much better. So where have we gone wrong? Where have our government went wrong? And your opinion of how we may be able to improve it?
Well, we have the money, but every time there's an issue about where we're going to cut funds, it's always the educational system. Always. We put our focus on other things like your uniform. What's the priority here? Like, we're running the school system as a business, and you're hiring people to over the schools as a business person, and they're not educators. So now, how do you have a school system or a school that doesn't have books? I get it that we are going technology based, and some schools have iPads and the kids get to take them home. But what about those schools that don't have the iPads? You're still not putting books in those schools. So how are we going to educate? How are we going to academically progress if the basic thing of a book is not in a school and the kid can't take it home?
Yeah.
So if I'm the parent and I say, if a child asks me to help me with the homework, and my first response is, well, where's your book? Well, we don't have books. This is what the notes we have. So we are struggling with the simple, basic things of not even having books in our schools. Another thing, we have changed so much with Illinois about when can a child start school.
Yes.
Like, who said that it was appropriate for a child to enter kindergarten at 6 years old? And then put them in a classroom with a student that has been in school
for a year or so.
Since 3 years old.
Yeah. Or so.
And now want them to compete, or you
put them in the same classroom. Now the teacher is, this kid knows, this kid knows, their alphabets and all that, but then you have to pay attention to the kid that doesn't. So now this kid over here has it, now he's diagnosed with he's ADHD because he can't sit down, but no, he's smart. He's bored.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So now you have a lot of issues that's going on in the state of Illinois, in the city of Chicago, and everywhere else.
So we need some of the things I hear that you guys are saying is we do need more parent participation. The stress level needs to be lowered at home. Feed the kids, make sure they're dressed, make sure they have their supplies so that you guys can be better at what you do and your assistants as well. And administrators that's running the schools to be able to provide the tools that you also need at school to do your jobs better. Less rules, more educating and loving on the students. More money, not necessarily more monies, but making sure that the money balance spent, right? Yes. And we probably need to get, once again,
our politicians.
Yes.
That's it.
Better politicians.
Start at the head. The politicians.
We need you all to get out and vote and get the right people in office.
I'm going to say PNP because I think parents also have a voice.
Yeah.
And if we put the pressure as parents that have kids in school, if we put the pressure down and start demanding things and start demanding actions, stuff will change.
And you can even start I am on my local school board. I ran for election. I'm running for election again in November. Why? Because I care about my schools. Yeah. So I want to be involved, and I know my community knows that I will get involved. I will try to do everything that's right for these kids.
Yes.
Well, we can all start at that level.
Exactly.
Every school district has a school board. So if we're looking at that and saying, this is how we want it funded, this is what we need, then we can start right there and then build our way up. We don't always have to start, say, well, I can't do anything about the White House right now. None of us can, but we can start at the local level and start working our ways up.
And take out time to volunteer if you can volunteer.
Yes.
So thank you, Shonda Hicks and Sandy Lexington. Great information. Thank you for your involvement. Thank you for your love and your passion for what you do and making a difference in our children's lives every day. And we will continue to pray for you guys because you need it.
Yes.
And Diva.
Yes.
We have a busy day today. And I know it's going to be a good day.
I always
so
have a busy day.
Please come out and be a part of the event today at 5:00 or the workshops with our girls. If you choose to bring your young people out, we're always open to having people come out. And thank you all listeners for tuning in to Divas Den on IntellectualRadio.com, where we stream live 24/7.
Feed your brain and get your mind right.
You knew I was the one. Mother's womb, called and chosen. Grace was mine to complete at the appointed time.